Hey boys and girls, Doug Giles here. It's Warriors Rich
and Wildmen. What's happening, Doug?
Just talking to my buddy, man. That's all
Hanging
I
out.
do at this day of the week, at this time of the day. So
I know, man.
you
It'd
got
be
a
cool
series.
if we lived in the same city and we could hang out, smoke cigars.
Yeah, we need to have another powwow, man.
Let's do it.
I think it's going on. So we've gone over 300 episodes, which it's not.
Yeah,
it's not
over
up there
5 years.
It's not up there in the the Rogan stratosphere yet, but that's a chunk and a lot of conversations, and we kicked this thing off in a cigar bar. So I think, Rich, it would be sinful if we didn't reconvene in person around the sacred leaf of tobacco, especially.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a good reason to get together. So our Safari cigar order, which has been sold out for like 6-7 months, they're arriving in Texas this Friday. And our the guy who's in charge of our production is like, Doug, this is the finest production that we've ever had in 10 years. And I said, Alberto, giddy up.
You told him, I don't believe you. Prove it to me.
Ooh, he sent me a bundle of like 6. He's like, you try these. So they're in production, and so he had his produced, and then he's like, whoosh, here's a little taste test of Gloria Divine that you're going to have. And man, so when we ran out of cigars, and like I only smoke Safari cigar, man, and so I was like, dang it, I'm out. And I would go to Famous Smokes or the various other vendors and stuff, Thompson Cigars, and I would get stuff and I'd just try stuff, and it's just freaking ragweed out there. There's a lot of ragweed out there. Hey, and here's a, like, if we've got some newbies that have never really gotten into cigars, there's several things that I judge and look for, and I can usually, Rich, tell if a cigar is going to suck before I even light it. I can tell. I can look at it, and if it looks all veiny and you've got twigs poking out, it's probably a bad stick. Then when somebody hands me a cigar as a gift, then I say thank you. How's the weather? Are the Cowboys going to be good this year? And I'm feeling it for like rocks or like knots. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And then if it passes the sight and the touch test, then I go over to my cutter, boom, cut it, and then I see if it draws easily. A cigar should not be a Jawser size workout. I mean, it should flow and pull and draw very easily. And then I smell it, and it's got to smell good. And then boom, I light it. And usually if they pass all of those tests, unless the tobacco just really is horrible, it's going to be a decent stick.
Yeah.
But one thing to look out for, newbies that are getting into the cigar life, is the bigger the label, the shinier the box, the crappier the cigar. That's what they do, It's
there are obviously exceptions to rules like that.
Well, there are very few.
Because I would say, I'm going to go ahead and say Opus X has some pretty amazing cigars. They're expensive. They got cool labels, but they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, but those the sticks that don't need it, that
Padron.
Don't need all the fancy. Oh yeah, again, perfect. Safari cigar, just a little band.
Yeah.
Boom. We don't even have boxes, Rich. It's not. We don't do any of that stuff. Everybody's like, why do you need to get a box? Like you want a surcharge of $40 on your monthly cigars and stuff, and like, no, not really. It's like, I'm not going to eat that. It's like these things are fine. They're beautiful. They won't last in a box. You'll smoke them, within a week and stuff. But man, I've seen, because people just go for it, man. Just it's like the shiny button. It's like, ooh, this thing's got a big label. I've seen labels on cigars, Rich, that are nearly the length of the entire freaking cigar.
Yeah. And
it's like, and a lot of people don't know that when you bust that band, that it's got glue that's usually tied to the wrapper, and then bam, you got a break in your wrapper. And then once, if the cigar is worth a crap, and you get down to where that wrapper was glued to the cigar ring, then you've got this thing that just starts going nuts and it swells up. It's not enjoyable anymore after that. The wrapper starts breaking, the ash starts getting all funky and weird. So anyway, that's a lesson that I've learned over
Yeah, I also found that the cap,
30 years.
looking at the cap, sometimes you can
Right.
tell that the cap is, oh, look, it's perfect because it's machine made. I don't like that. You could tell by looking at it if it's hand rolled and if it's glued
Yep.
up right. And if it's a nice
Yeah.
cap. And when you cut it, it still stays correct. Or if you're even smoking a torpedo or something and you cut it, then the integrity of the cigar isn't destroyed. I hate that.
Yeah, no, and I told this guy one time, he's like, hey, Doug, I'm just getting into cigars, man. It's like, how much do I cut off the cigar? And I go, well, imagine it's your wedding tackle. How much would you like to cut off that? So don't cut too much, because if you cut below that cap, then you're going to have problems. Like
The
you
whole
said,
thing
it's
comes
gonna
apart.
start-
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
An old guy, I went to go smoke my second cigar ever in my whole life. The first one was some dry, crusty one at a biker bar that was in this not humidor. And I went to this little cigar lounge, and I said, you know how many cigars I smoke? And the guy goes, I don't know, hundreds. I said, no, this is my second one, literally. He said, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm serious. He said, you want me to show you a secret to cut it? I said, yeah. And it was just a straight cutter, He put it on the table and put the cigar in the cutter so that it touched the table.
Yeah.
And cut it, and the height of that cutter made a very thin, perfect. He said, if you do that, you'll cut it perfect every time until you learn, then you don't have to do that. And he said, but when you're first starting out, it's a perfect way to get a perfectly straight cut, the right thing. You're not going to ruin your cigar. And I did that for a while. It was great.
Yeah, and I hate it when I see people like especially if it's my cigar. If you've got, whatever crap stick you're going to smoke, I don't care what you do to it. But when they bite it, it's like, what are you doing?
Dude, that is
and
terrible.
then they start yanking on it and stuff, and
Bro,
you see
I
the
have had
filler
to,
coming out. It's
I've
like,
had to bite cigars. I had no cutter, no knife, nothing in sight.
right.
But I bite a little tiny hole in the end. Usually I'll use my thumbnail. And
Yeah,
I can
you
cut
don't
it,
do this whole.
No, I don't do that thing where you bite it off and spit it and there's a chunk and
that's
leaves sticking
stupid.
out.
No,
That's awesome.
stupid.
Hey,
You
I
just
rolled
ruined
a
this-
cigar. Did I tell you that?
No,
I was in the
where were you?
Dominican, and Annie and I went on this little tour.
Love
It
to
was
see
cool.
that thing.
Dude, it was beautiful. It's perfect. Not even kidding. You know why?
So did you smoke it?
I still have it. The lady that rolled it, that was teaching me to roll it, she says, okay, come over here, sit right here. I said, okay. And she has it all lined up, and she kind of rolled it and then backed it off and goes,
Right.
okay, just roll it like that. And I start to roll it. It starts to go a little crooked. I'm not kidding. Her hand gently
Like, oh, you're finished.
turned my hand and made it like perfect, and it rolled. She goes, okay, stop, give it to me. She did that, and then she said, and this is how you cut. And she took this little round cutter thing and cut this piece of tobacco like so fast, Doug, the shape. And then she says, put your finger on the glue. And then when I went to do it, she got my hand, put it on there, and she says, here, rub it on right here. Okay, that's enough. And then she put it on and then used my finger to put it around. And then the end, she pushed my hand out of the way and sealed it perfect.
Beautiful.
And said, there you go, you rolled a cigar. And it was like, not
Right.
so much, but thanks for letting me help. It was awesome. It was great.
We used to, when we had church parties in Miami, because Miami's, that and Tampa is like ground zero for cigar aficionados. We had a cigar roller come out to our church parties,
Great.
because we didn't have first of all, we weren't, and we didn't have your typical little outreach things and stuff like that, which is mind-numbingly gross and boring and pedantic, and it's like, I don't want to be a Christian if that's what it is. And so we'd have a guy out there, we'd have a DJ, and people dancing, doing whatever, food flowing and stuff, and a lot of unsaved people just sitting there with the brothers, smoking a cigar, talking about church, family, and state issues in a beautiful home. I think you've even been over to Oscar's house in Miami
Yeah.
Shores. We'd parked the cigar roller, man, right in front of his garage, and boom, that whole backyard was filled with nothing but a blue cloud of yumminess.
That's awesome.
Rich.
Yeah, when we were in Dominican, they took us in the aging room. It's like, you want to go in the aging room? We're like, yeah, of course we do. Dude, that's not like walking in a humidor. it was humid like a humidor, but there was so many cigars in there, and the thickness of the nicotine and the
Ooh.
tobacco, it was, you could barely breathe in there. It was really like overpowering.
Right.
And the guy said, yeah, you probably don't want to stay in here too long. And he's like, yeah, I'm out. Like it was interesting because I didn't realize how much power those things have, but they're still wet, right? They're in there aging, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so our finished wrapper, that's where the majority of our money goes to, because that's where the majority of your flavor is in the cigar and stuff. And I think on average they're at least 15 years old.
Yeah.
And they just sit there and they just hang. And then our production guru, who's just been doing this for a long time at the highest levels, bro, he picks up the leaf and he looks at it and he examines it, and I don't know what he's looking at. You got to have the eye, you know.
Right.
And it's for people to say, you know, why is a cigar so expensive? The Dutch Master only costs 65 cents.
Like, go ahead.
Right. There's a wee bit of difference between our Safari Churchill and our Gordo and our Robusto compared to that machine hatcheted, you know, stuck together chips of. It's just,
you know,
like
how much
the
we
difference
paid to
between
go on that
Spam
tour?
and,
We paid $20 to go on the tour, and on the tour, they gave us a free cigar. Let us pick what we wanted to smoke from their stock. Get a cigar. We're walking around the whole thing, checking it out while we're smoking a cigar. We get to roll a cigar, keep that cigar, and when it's over, they give us another cigar. Of course, they're trying to sell you cigars, right? I mean, fair enough. It's $20. You get 3 cigars, you know. And they were showing us the leaves and the different leaves that were used for like you said, like the binder, and different leaves that were used for the filler, and the different ones were used for the wrapper, and they were significantly different. And they were letting us hold them and like pull on them and stuff. And then when I saw the box press cigars, it blew my mind how simply they made them. They literally put them in a box, put a crank on it, a vise, and then crank it down. It's
Pressed
literally box pressed. You're welcome. There
For
you
those,
go. Like, it's pretty amazing.
Right. Yeah, for all those who don't know it, our entire Safari cigar line's box press. Everybody's like, why is these box press? Like, because I like being different. It's
Because
cool. I
they
think you can
fit better in your hand.
I think so, Rich. You know,
You can lay them on the table. The wind doesn't blow them, and they roll off the stand.
Right. You could be in rapturous love with your wife, and you could put the cigar on the nightstand. And if it gets too raucous, it doesn't roll off and burn the house down.
Well, yeah, and you know, if I have a choice between 2 cigars and they're similar cigars and one's a box press, I'm going to take the box press. I'm going to take it. I like how they feel. They're great, and I love a torpedo.
Yeah, especially when it gets to the
That's the
big
noise I
ring
make.
gauge.
That's a torpedo.
Ooh. So especially the big ring gauge when you get around 60, you know.
Yeah.
And like so we have the Gordo. So our magnum opus, the 6x60. If that was round, that's gonna hurt your jaw, you know. If with just the flattening of it, it's freaking perfect.
Yep.
You know? And but I think this we had this beautiful couple, man, that came over to our house the other day, and when they used to come to our cigars and sermons when we were first starting the church and stuff. And God was dragging me, you know, kicking and screaming back into the ministry and stuff. And so she hadn't been over in like 2 years. And she's a beautiful model from Europe. She opens the door and she stands in the doorway, Rich, and she just goes, she goes, I so miss this place. I love the smell of this joint. And because all we do is blaze in here constantly.
Yep. That's great.
I had another thing that happened the other day. So you know the restaurant down the road from us, very cool place to hang out. I think they're starting to ban smoking. I haven't tried it lately, but a couple years ago, I'm out there and we're blazing, listening to live music. Cool place, and this lady, this I'd say she's probably about 30, 35 maybe tops. She comes over to me. And I'm just sitting there smoking. She's good looking. And she comes over to me and she goes, hey, do you mind if I sit next to you? I go, oh, I don't, but my wife might. She's coming back here in 5 minutes. And I go, what's up? And she said, my dad just passed away, and he was a cigar smoker. And when I got a waft of your cigar smoke, she said, you have no idea the flood of emotions that just hit me. So I just want to, stand here, listen to music, kind of embrace the feeling and the moment. And I was like, man, that is super awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure to tell every anti-cigar smoking, yarbling, loudmouth, pain in the ass.
I don't know any of those people. They don't say anything to me.
Oh, you see them at the restaurants when they start going like this and like getting the manager over and stuff.
Well, there's very few places you can smoke them, and when you can smoke them, I'm not going to be bothered by people that don't like it. Go to all the other places where you can't smoke. You know what's interesting is because smell is so connected to memories and stuff, pipes also have that effect. I remember I got a little pipe, and I would smoke it once in a while. Usually in the wintertime, I'll smoke it just from time to time. And I started to smoke it, and I remembered when I was younger when my dad smoked a pipe. My dad's still alive. I still visit. But it was so weird. I was even smoking the pipe, and I started smoking, and the smell of the tobacco took me back to when I was little, and my dad smoked a pipe for a while. It's so crazy how that happens.
I think it's cool, and all the health police and all the other people that. I had this chick one time, and I think I told you about it, give me grief about just like, you use too much salt, it's bad for you. And she got hit by a bus and died, Rich.
Whoa.
So here she is.
That's pretty salty.
Obsessing. So here she is obsessing and watching, my salt usage. Like, who freaking does that? I can get mama if you're over there dumping the shaker, on watermelon or something. It's just weird and way too... heavy-handed on the sodium intake, but here she is, watching me sprinkle little saltlets on my steak and stuff, and she was not watching out for 6-ton bus coming at her.
Yeah, I heard a story like that in the Bible. Jesus told something about splinter and log. I don't know. I think that was a story about salt grain and a bus.
Yeah. I think it's that's how Peterson translates it in the Message translation.
Well, it's interesting because I've talked to several of my doctors, and they would ask me, "Would you smoke?" And I tell them, "No." I said, "Well, I smoke cigars," and they say, "Never mind. That doesn't matter." I've asked my doctors, "Will it help if I don't smoke?" No, it has nothing to do with this. Don't worry about it. Like every time.
I heard for COVID that nicotine actually is a spike protein prohibitor. And where everybody thought, the smoker's going to get cleaned out with COVID coming along, and the exact opposite happened. It made you less susceptible to the severity of COVID than if you didn't smoke. And
I'll tell you a funny post-COVID story. After I got out of the hospital and got off oxygen, I know that sounds terrible, but I had some friends over. We were all sitting around the pool, and everybody was all happy because I was alive, and we're having a good time. And one of my friends was smoking a cigar. I was like, hey, give me that. Probably not that advisable. And Annie sees me and says, hey, what are you doing? And I handed it back, and I dove in the water and to swim across the pool and get away. But I forgot that my lungs were still extremely compromised. It wasn't the cigar that got me. It was the diving in the water and trying to swim. I was like, so if she would have just left me alone, I'd have sat there and smoked my cigar in peace. So that was a good warning for her. Good lesson. Mind your business, woman. I'm the man. Don't ever try to do that again. And I'm glad that Annie, when you listen to this, I hope every warrior in Wildmen knows that's a joke. I'm just saying that as a joke because Annie's going to listen to this, and I don't want to have to bring her on here. And I'm still the man, though. Don't forget that part.
Right on.
I'm the man, America. Bro. And if I have to say it 3 times, I will.
You're the man. Yeah, so Mary Margaret and I were going to dinner with our good buddy that you've also met in Miami, Glenn and his wife Maggie.
Oh, yeah.
And we're at this beautiful restaurant down in Lincoln Road. DeLeo doesn't exist anymore. We went there and ate all the time. So it's outside, and it says, frickin' smoking section. And so we go over there, pull out the sticks, start blazing our beautiful Safari cigar line, and I see this lesbian couple. And yes, I could tell that they were lesbians, all right? And so they come over and they come into, and again, it's like it's gated off. It says smoking. Like when you enter in, it's like, boom, right. You got, cigar blazing sign, so it's very clear. And so they get downwind of us, and they start doing the whole fan in the face. Then they call the waiter over, and they start whining and complaining. The waiter's like, you in a smoking section, lady. And then they go into the restaurant and talk to the owner, and he said the same thing. We'll seat you inside, but that's a smoking section. She walks up to me after he tells her to go pound sand. She walks up to me, and she said, I just want you to know that your cigar smoking offends me. And I go, well, I want you to know that your haircut and your mate choice offends me. Two-way street, baby. Can you imagine, man? And I had that prep, though. I had that prepared.
Yeah.
And I think we ought to have, great quips, Rich, prepared. So when, again, the Karens start showing up in mass and telling us how to conduct our lives, we volley it back into their court with a heavy topspin. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, people can sit around and complain about whatever they want, but when it comes time to get the job done, you're going to call the cigar smokers to come get it done, right?
Boom. They're going to build the bridge in the road.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we forewent. Is it forewent or forego, or we didn't cover?
We went somewhere. We went somewhere.
That's we did. This is our official, because Zeke has been after us for, 3 years? Do a show about cigars. Boom, Zeke. Your dream has come true. Keep seeking, keep asking,
I know a guy that smoked his first cigar, and we're no longer friends, so I enjoy the story so much. And he used to smoke weed, and I would tell him, you can't inhale cigars, bro. You need to take it easy. And when I tell you he turned green, not kidding, his skin, he's super white anyway. Bro, his skin turned green.
Translucent.
And he got up and walked around the corner. I didn't see him vomit. I would have appreciated it.
Right.
I'm sure he did. He never smoked another cigar again. That's what he gets because he's less of a man.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, because our cigar line, it's stout, and it's like,
bro, it's more than stout. It's not full. It's full times. It's not that R series. Remember the time I brought that box of R series?
Oof. I still got two of them.
Dude, those things will hammer you, right? It's not a bad cigar, but holy cow, those things will hammer you.
Yeah.
But Safari's a full plus, no doubt.
Yeah, but it's not like you said
it's not so peppery. I don't like the peppery, and it's also not rough. It's smooth, but it's full.
Yeah. But I tell people, if they're ingenues and they're like, hey, I want to try one of these cigars, go, okay, first of all, number one, if I give you one of these.
Did you eat some food?
Yeah, so, right. Preferably a nice hearty meal.
Yeah,
this
not
one's
a salad.
Going to test.
Did you have some red meat, son?
So, so that's the second question. The first one is, if I give you one, you smoke it down to at least an inch. I'm not going to have, it's like, I don't really like. I gave this guy one once, and he smoked, and none of my cigars suck. The draws are perfect. The tobacco's amazing. The construction is to die for. So there's no problem with my cigar. So he gets about an inch into it. And you know what this dude did, Rich? He grounded it out like it was a cigarette.
No.
Yeah,
he just crushed the end into an ashtray or on. Oh, dude.
Yeah. No, it's like, we're not friends anymore. And we're not friends anymore. Like, when you did that, it's like, or not you, but him. When he did that, I was like,
I don't do that.
It's over, man. It's over. You just showed me that you are an absolute
Hey, I got a great
offensive
cigar story. I got a great cigar story. So I saw these old guys riding around with cigars in their mouth on their motorcycle. And I was like, man, I'm going to do that.
That doesn't work.
I was like, I'm totally doing that. So I told Annie, got on the bike. She got on the bike. I fired up a cigar, took off down the road. It was like a Holly 650 dual pumper carburetor, just with a tunnel ram, just pumping cigar smoke into my soul. Bro, it was a cigar I just lit, and I literally started coughing, and I got it, and I like almost dropped it, threw it, spit it. It was like, just threw it out, rode down the road, my eyes watering, and Annie's cracking up, laughing. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm not that cool. I can't do it, right? Then I realized one day, they're not lit. Those guys smoke them. They let them go out, and they keep it in their mouth, and they ride with it not lit, and when they stop, they fire it up. And then they just let it go out and they ride. And I'm over here riding with this carbureted cigar into my soul, man. It was Dude, I probably look like the stupidest person alive. It was great.
That's awesome. I'm trying to shake it off.
Dude, I
trying
was
to
like,
power. I guarantee you tried to power through. It's like, I'm not going to be beaten by the
course. Of course I did. I thought I had it. But when I threw it out, you know how like if you're going to throw something, but you're almost gagging at the same time and you're spitting it? It was like 3 things at once. It was like, but it was so less than powerful. It was more like, you know, it just kind of fell out.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I wish I had video
for the people who are like, well, you know, they're Christians and they're talking about cigar smoking. I don't know if that's what Jesus would do. Well, first of all, C.S. Lewis, he was, and I think God used him a little bit. And Charles Spurgeon, he loved cigars, and he was a Baptist rich.
Bonhoeffer smoked 500,000 cigars, writing some of the best theology. And then
right on, man.
Resisting Hitler and becoming a martyr.
Get down. And here's something that...
the pictures of him has a cigarette. You know that? Bonhoeffer, he always has a cigarette.
Right. Yeah, here's another thing that for the little legalist that thinks it's, you know, naughty and stuff.
Wait, can you do that again? Do the little voice again. I liked it. The what?
Yeah, I don't know if I can go...
The little legalist?
The little legalist.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I need to get it down better. But
I like it. I like it.
So I've had some of the most epic, godly, rich conversations around a group of friends smoking a cigar that rich. I don't think they would have occurred. It's weird the level of I don't know, fraternity, camaraderie, and stuff that comes when you're burning the beautiful leaf. And
Doug, I've told this story how many times, but when Levi said for my 18th birthday, I want to smoke my first cigar with you. Took him to the place, bought him a Padron, took him outside. He fired it up, started smoking it, and about 20 minutes in, he looked around and said, Dad, it's not just about the cigars.
Right.
Look at everybody talking.
Yeah.
And you think about how valuable that is in today's day and age when everybody's on their phones. Doug, this podcast came out of you and I sitting around smoking a cigar talking about theology.
Yeah.
Till 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. I mean, how many times have we done that? We've had incredible conversations. It's such a great thing that we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here an hour. I'm going to sit here and you're going to sit here.
Yeah, and I had this, in Miami, there was this couple, and, you know, the husband was coming over and smoking cigars, and she was just raising unholy hell about, it's like, I don't like it. I don't think you should be doing it. I don't think you should be spending the money. I don't, you know, just on and on and on. And so she got a little, I don't know, she went stupid, and she said that in front of me. And I don't like what y'all, I don't know. It's like, you know, your husband could be gambling right now, or he could be at a strip club, or, you know, he could be cheating on you, or he could be, I don't know, you know.
Any of the other vices.
Just freaking online porning it, or, I mean, there's tons of other stuff. And he's at our house with Christian brothers.
Right.
That are talking about world missions, that are talking about starting businesses, the kingdom of God, politics, church, family, and state. It's like, man, lady, you need to shut the front door, and you need to let him do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
And, so we took care of that and killed it right off the bat, brother.
Hey, well, I got 2 stories about my wife smoking cigars. One is I saw a guy one time, and I was walking, and she was smoking a cigar. I was smoking a cigar. He goes, dude, that's awesome that your wife smokes cigars. I said, well, it is awesome, except for the other part. It cost me twice as much. And and I don't know this guy. He puts his arm around me while we're walking. He goes, bro, never complain about that. That is totally worth it. And I started laughing because I said it kind of as a joke, you know. But he was right. The other one, I was on a cruise. It was on the night. Everybody gets dressed up. I'm wearing a suit. Annie's wearing this beautiful dress. She has red lipstick on her, blonde hair, and blue eyes everywhere. And we go afterwards. We sit outside in the place where we smoke cigars. And she's sitting there smoking a cigar, looking like $1 million, you know. And this old guy, and I'm old, so this guy's really old. He comes up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder, leans over and whispers in my ear. He says, well done, young man. Well done. Pats me on the shoulder and walked away. And you know what, Doug? I have to be honest. I felt so proud. I was like, yeah, I'm sitting, and my wife enjoys a good cigar, and it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fantastic. Totally blessed.
Roger that, man. Live a little, people. Live
Yeah.
a little. And so, aside from and listen,
Getting some Safari cigars.
yeah, and again, people think, oh, he's overhyping. It's like, guys, I'm telling you, those who know. And if you want to wade into the
Well, if they buy
world
them, I'll
in
make an
which-
offer. If they buy them and they don't like them, I'll buy what they have left over as long as they keep them.
Absolutely.
I'll buy them half
Yeah.
off and give you half your money
I'll,
back.
I'll take them back. When I see cigars leave the humidors and stuff that we have, I'm like, I'm happy and I'm sad because I'm realizing, oh, hey, that's taken away from my stash, man. Don't leave, come back.
You know what
I've
I'm going to
actually
do when
had
we get
to-
off this podcast?
Talk to me.
I'm going to go smoke a cigar.
I've got one sitting in a little cradle that this guy gave me. It's like this St. Andrew's
Yeah, I've
cross,
seen
man.
those.
And poof! Oh, they're freaking
Those are
awesome,
cool,
especially.
dude. Hey, you know how you
especially
always use a
outside and
toothpick?
stuff?
You know you always use a
Yep.
toothpick? My brother bought me this really nice cigar pick, and it's a gorilla head. And I don't know if it's silver or pewter or steel, but it's a gorilla head with a cigar in his mouth. And whenever I use it, people are like, whoa, what is that? It's so awesome.
So does the metal taste transfer through the
No,
stick when you
I've
get
never tasted it.
See, that's the reason why I just keep with the toothpick, because and I don't know if I was just using, like, I would use like a dart head.
Probably depends on
And,
what the metal is, right?
Yeah,
It would depend.
Right. Yeah,
I've
send
never
Cal-
tasted
or
it.
Tell Cal to send me a link.
A link.
To
Okay,
that.
I
I'd
will.
love to get it.
I will.
Yeah.
It's cool. And they got a bunch of different ones, and you'll love it. They're great. People love it. When they see it, they're like, what is that? And I say, oh, when it gets down low, and they go, oh, man, I always just throw them away because they don't think about it. It's so cool. And they,
Well,
yeah.
again, some cigars, when you get that low, you're like, finally, and you do want to throw it away.
I don't,
know?
I don't, a lot of cigars,
Yeah.
I don't pull it out. If it's a nice cigar and I'm enjoying it,
Oof, man, I'm telling you,
Gets the
Rich,
pick.
when you get down to that final frontier, there's still what 5-10 minutes worth of glory, you
Yeah.
know, that you can wring out of that cigar.
yep.
So we've got issues, we got problems, as people well know now. And
But cigars are
and
not one of them. I got 99 problems and cigars ain't one.
Not at all. Not at all. And again, if newbie wants to venture into the world in which the rarefied air in which Rich and I live, Safari Cigars on a full stomach is a good place to start.
Yes, sir.
So-
Or right off the bat before you go hunting with a cup of coffee in Texas
Oof.
when you're freezing your balls
Lord.
off.
We brought when Glenn and I went to Africa the last time, we brought 200 cigars
Dude,
for a 2-week safari. And
That's
here's
a
the reason
lot.
why. Here's the reason why. When you're out of cigars in frickin' BFE Africa, you're out.
you're done.
And so we didn't run out there, but we're not sweating it. I remember
I've run out
running
before.
of-
It's not a good thing.
Bro, I ran out of cigars. So I had this one cigar, and the wrapper was broken, and so this thing is just completely, coming apart and stuff. And so we just finished a 2-week safari. It was 2007, and we were doing our final picture. There's 4 of us, and like 50 different animals that we had hunted and stuff that are all behind us. And I'm like, I need a cigar for this picture. And so the professional hunter's wife, she runs into town. And she comes back and she's just running at me and she's smiling and she's so happy. She said, I found you a cigar. And she handed it to me. I cut it and lit it, and it was a grape flavored cigar, man. And I was like,
Man,
"Well,
that'd
that's
go good.
special."
That'd go good with a Bud Light.
So, yeah, exactly. So, first of all, guys, never get a flavored cigar, and
No.
don't stick your cigar in brandy. That's all bull crap. You're gonna, especially,
Yep.
you get a fine cigar, you're gonna ruin it. If you're smoking ragweed, yeah, brandy might help it. And but anyway, so
Probably not.
I said, hey Dan, here's a cigar for you, and I gave him the grape flavored one. And I went to my humidor and got that lone little crusty, disheveled cigar and smoked it. But flavored cigars, flavored coffee, I could do with that.
No. Hey, I was in Indonesia one time, and I thought, Sumatra's there. They grow tobacco, everything else. Got to have cigars. Nope, Muslim country. You can't really find cigars of any kind anywhere. And I was at this dive resort, and I said, do you know anybody that has cigars? Do you know a place? No. We'll talk to the manager, see if he knows. The manager's from England, and he comes out, and I'm standing in the pool, and he says, I heard you're looking for some cigars. And I said, yeah. And he said, I have some. I said, awesome. Can I buy some? He said, nope, but I'll make you a deal. I said, okay. I said, I'll bring my humidor down here, and you can grab a handful of my personal stash of my cigars, but you have to promise to make time to smoke one with me in the evening at some point because I have no one to smoke cigars with. And I was like, wow, what a great deal. And so I literally just hung out with this guy who was super awesome, been all over the world, and said, smoke a cigar with him. And so he gave me a cigar so he'd have somebody to smoke. Come on, man. That's the camaraderie, right? Make friends like that everywhere you go.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah. I remember last time I was in London, and I was looking for cigars. So none of the Christians smoked cigars, so they didn't know what was going on. And so it was before, the smartphones really, could dial you in and just right over to the place to get a stick. And so we finally find this little creepy sliver of a cigar store and stuff. Dude, they didn't have any big cigars at all. There's no Churchills, no Gordos. Most of them are just little, tiny little sticks. But
oh yeah, the cigarillos and stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of I don't know, about a 42 ring gauge, about 5 inches or something. But they all were legit Cubans. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, you got the Monte Cristos, the Hoya de Monterreys. You've got the
Cohibas
Punch. Now I had to smoke like 6 of them, in a row. To satisfy my penchants. But it worked. But they didn't have any big sticks, which is weird,
I do like to smoke a Lancero once in a while.
What is that? Is that
the real long, thin ones? Okay. They say that the real hardcore cigar guys, the famous old guys, that they sit around smoking those because of how the tobacco blends and flows through the tobacco. I like them once in a while. They're great. Just different experience.
I bought from Famous Smokes. It was an off-brand offered. It was an 8 3/4 inch Churchill sticks. Like, I want to just try these to see if they were capable of making the thing draw properly, because that's a long stick, man. So I got to tell you, man, the price point was incredible. They came in like under $2 a stick for a bundle of 25. Perfect draw, perfect tobacco. It was not Safari, but $2 a stick for a 2-hour stick. Boom, baby, that's $1 an hour, man.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we do?
Now you whetted my whistle.
Yeah, you got to smoke something today.
Go to warriorsandwildmen.com. I almost said safari.com.
Hey, actually, follow us at Safari Cigar. On Instagram. It's Safari Cigar singular on Instagram. And as soon as they are ready to ship, which they're going to get in Friday, we got to do a little count, a little inventory, then boof, we're going to kick them out next week. And we'll post on Instagram when they're ready to hit your humidor. So aside from that,
go to warriorsandwildmen.com, subscribe. It's free. We will hit you up with a couple emails a week, let you know what's happening, keep you updated. If you want to help support the ministry, go to the War Chest. It's tax deductible. When you send your gift, we'll send you the information. For those that are doing it, you guys are making it happen. Warriors and Wildmen out.